If the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians, the USA will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria. We're going to do things to Nigeria that Nigeria is not going to be happy about and may very well go into that now disgraced country, guns a-blazing, to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible, horrible atrocities.
Praise to America! Praise to America! Praise to America! Praise to America! Praise to Donald Trump! Praise to Donald Trump! Allahu Akbar!
The entire city of Kano is currently in turmoil as massive protests have erupted, drawing thousands of Muslims, Ariwa youth, northern elites led by the Islamic Movement of Nigeria. The protesters have taken to the streets in anger, voicing strong opposition against US President Donald Trump. In this video, we'll uncover several critical developments surrounding the protest, revelations that suggest that the matter has gone far beyond politics and has taken on a deeper and more complex dimension. The protesters were seen carrying banners, burning posters of Donald Trump and chanting through the city. They say they reject foreign threats, they reject what they call interference in Nigeria's matters. In the midst of this uproar, a key player emerges, the Islamic sect known as the Islamic Movement of Nigeria. Founded in the 1980s under the leadership of Ibrahim el-Zakzaki, the Islamic Movement of Nigeria is a Shia-oriented movement that draws inspiration from the 1979 Iranian Revolution. Though small compared to the Sunni majority in northern Nigeria, the Islamic Movement of Nigeria has for decades called for an Islamic state guided by Sharia law and has staged large street demonstrations demanding justice and recognition. The sect stands for a radical reform of the state. It refuses the secular constitution, it envisions governance under Islamic laws, and it challenges what it sees as corruption and injustice within the Nigerian state. Now, the Islamic Movement of Nigeria's name has appeared in connection with this protest, amid claims that other Islamic groups, including the Islamic Movement of Nigeria, are organizing to oppose Trump's warning to Nigeria about Christian persecution. One of the protest leaders, speaking in Hausa, said, "These bandits, these so-called terrorists are our sons, our brothers, our fathers, our uncles. We do not want anyone to harm or kill them. We oppose US military intervention in Nigeria and reject Trump's action." The statement underscores how the line between civilian protest and political confrontation has blurred. The banners read slogans such as "We condemn Trump's threat to attack Nigeria," "There is no Christian genocide in Nigeria," and "America wants to control our resources." At the same time, Nigerian government officials are publicly backing the protesters' claims. They deny any wider religious war, they say the Christian genocide narrative is false, and they accuse the US of trying to interfere in Nigeria's internal affairs. Yet for many Nigerian Christians in the South and Middle Belt, this is deeply alarming. If indeed innocent villagers are being raped, churches burned, Christians kidnapped, as some reports allege, how can this defense of our brothers and fathers of the perpetrators be justified? What we are witnessing is more than a security problem. It is a crisis of narrative and identity. It is a war of truth versus denial. When religious leaders, sects, and influential elites march in the streets to defend those accused of violence, while protesting against help meant to stop that violence, the problem is no longer simply the men hiding in the forest. The problem may be amongst us, the men in suits, the clerics in robes, the comfortable insiders who smile on television while shielding those who perpetrate terror behind closed doors. The question now is, will the voice of justice and accountability be heard, or will the tide of denial drown it out? In Kano and beyond, the world is watching, and if Trump sees this, well, he may not ignore it. During the protest, messages like "We do not want anyone harmed or killed," "We oppose US military intervention in Nigeria and reject Trump's action" was broadcasted loudly through microphones as the crowd echoed the chants in agreement. In essence, these religious and community figures are openly defending individuals the US government has identified as terrorists. Recall that President Trump had earlier issued a stern warning, stating that if the Nigerian government failed to stop the killings of Christians, the United States will be forced to take military actions.
I'm hereby instructing our Department of War to prepare for possible action. If we attack, it will be fast, vicious, and sweet, just like the terrorist thugs attack our cherished Christians.
The current protest appears to be a reaction to that declaration. It is therefore increasingly clear that what began as a humanitarian concern has now evolved into a political and religious confrontation. This position has sparked outrage among Nigerians, particularly within Christian communities. Their question is simple: if these so-called bandits are killing villagers, burning churches, and kidnapping children, how can anyone describe them as our brothers and fathers? Many observers are now suggesting that President Trump may have had a point. The open defense of violent groups by influential religious leaders highlights the deeper moral and ideological crisis Nigeria continues to ignore. It appears that these protesters did not take to the streets in pursuit of justice, but rather to shield those responsible for the country's insecurity. This anger is not about the loss of innocent lives, but about an outsider daring to call attention to it. This explains why Christians across the South and Middle Belt are reacting strongly online. One commentator wrote, "These are exactly the kind of reactions Donald Trump thrives on, and when he sees them, he will respond even more aggressively." Another person wrote, "Now I am confused about who the real terrorists are, because these protesters don't look like bandits, yet they are acting exactly as terrorists would if given the chance." That observation has struck a chord nationwide. It raises the uncomfortable question: have Nigerians been looking in the wrong direction all along? Perhaps the real danger lies not in the men hiding in the forest, but in those living comfortably amongst us, the ones who smile in public, appear peaceful on television, yet secretly protect the perpetrators of violence behind closed doors. How else can one explain ordinary citizens defending terrorists, rejecting justice, and protesting against efforts aimed at ending bloodshed? At this moment, Kano State has become the epicenter of anti-Trump demonstration. Northern leaders are standing behind the protesters, while the world, especially the United States, is watching closely. And if there is one thing history has shown, it is that when Donald Trump sees such defiance, he rarely ignores it. Drop your honest comment in the comment section. Tell us what you think about this development. Don't forget to subscribe and share. Thank you.